Welcome to the best edition of Blathercast Comics. I'm your host with the most, Big Fat John here.
And I'm Dave. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that up.
Well, I kind of dropped off in the middle there. So.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like my camera is super laggy. Oh, well. So, what's been going on this week in the world of comic books in general?
It's been a pretty quiet week, actually. Oh, man. No, I got, it was actually a really good week for comics. So I have two comics that I wanted to talk about. Justice League No Justice number 1, which is the start of the miniseries, which is a continuation of DC Nation number 0, and Venom number 1, which was fantastic. One of the better selling Marvel books in my store. I had a conversation actually earlier on Twitter, which is like, the biggest miscommunication device ever. But I think there's people that don't understand, like, the when Comic-Con or Diamond posts the numbers of sales, they say it's sales, but it's not sales. It's orders to comic book shops. So the numbers are posted are like, oh, okay, this was 30,000 copies, but it's not sales. It's orders to comic book stores. Actual sales is the comic book shop selling to a customer.
They should really do it like magazines and allow the stores to send back the shit.
To have some sort of return privileges.
There should
no. See, what happens is the direct market is you're getting a deeper discount because you don't have return privileges. That's how it works. That's how it's going to be. I don't really have too much of a problem with that. I would like for certain things to be able to be returned, though, especially like new number 1s that they're pumping out and all this stuff. But I want to make that clear that there's really no tracking to see actually how many customers are buying physical copies of comic books. There really is no tracking because you couldn't figure out throughout the country. You wouldn't be able to figure it out. Every store would have to tally it up and let you know by the end of the month or whatever it would be and how much it sold. But no, the orders on Comic-Con, they're orders to stores. And those numbers can be inflated. For example, Marvel could say, oh, you ordered 25 copies of this book. We're going to send you 25 extra for free. And then they send it to you, and then they count those numbers as sales, and then they charge the store for shipping and don't reimburse them for it. So then you get 25 copies of a book that might not sell, that you got charged shipping for, that you didn't want, and they're going to put it in their sales numbers. There's variant programs. There's different ways of like ratios. They'll tell you like order 250% of what you ordered for Avengers number 1. And then you could order all these variants like blank covers and Scotty Young covers and this, that, and the other thing. And those all add up into their numbers that they post. They're making money, yes, but copies sold, who knows? If you buy 100 copies of a book just so you can get a couple of variants, you might be sitting on 50 copies of that book. It's not necessarily mean the customer bought those or read those.
Or if you only ordered them specifically because you had a customer that wanted that variant.
Right, and that happens too.
Then you might only sell 30 copies. And then
like if I put an order down and say like there's a 1 in 25 variant and I'm at 20, and someone's like, yeah, I take that 1 in 25 variant. So I bump my orders up to 25 And then the 26th issue is the variant. You know, so like there's 6 extra issues that I went in and ordered.
Right, but I mean, if somebody wants a 1 in 100 and you're going to order 30, and that customer's willing to pay $100 or $125 for that variant, you might order the other 70.
Right, you might do that, yeah.
And then you're sitting on 70 books you're never going to sell.
Yeah. And I'm picking on Marvel particularly because Marvel does this the most. DC doesn't even have a lot of ratioed variants. They only do like 50-50s. So they have an A cover and a B cover for all the rebirths. And you can order. There's no threshold or percentage that you have to order that unlocks you being able to order the B cover. So like it's straight up. It's like, here's Detective Comics 981 A cover. Here's Detective Comics 981 B cover. Like you could order whatever. They did a ratioed variant with DC Nation number 0, which was 25 cents the book. So there's a 1 in 500, a 1 in 250, and a 1 in 100 variant. So it's not that big of a deal. It's like $6 to $8. Like to me, like to buy 500 copies, it's not a big deal at all, right? So like I just Marvel does these games a lot more than DC or other companies, but other companies do it too. Just probably not as much. So I think when you're looking at units sold, it's units ordered really, and there's a lot of inflation there, I think.
All right. Well, you know, inflation's good sometimes and sometimes it's not. No, my only point about not being able to send them back is, you know, that shows that, you know, and that I'm saying this, like, if you're not shopping at a shop and you're buying your books, you know, someplace crappy, like on Marvel's digital store or Comixology or some place like that, where you're paying basically the same price and you don't even have anything that has any resale value ever. You know, it's not like buying a movie or a video game, which you'll never get your money back. You know, buying a comic book is like something, I mean, and you're not going to get your money back on every comic you buy, but at least you know what I mean? You're going to end up with a gem here and there if you buy books.
I think like with the returnability there, it puts a lot of everything onto the retailer.
Yeah, you're taking like, all this risk.
You're taking all the risk. So like a smaller shop like me would be like, oh, you have Domino #1 coming out. Like the art looks okay. Okay, the writer is known but hasn't had a hit in a long time. The art's nice. Nobody's really adding it to pull bags. What do I do? Do I take a chance and everyone comes in and goes, oh, yeah. Now that it's in my face, I want to order it and I want to order, you know, or I read it. I was on the fence. I don't want to add it to my pull bag. I just wanted to see if they had it on the shop. Then I picked it up and I liked it. Like, what do I do, you know, in that situation? And that's why like pull bags are really extremely important to a comic book shop. But you take all the risk as a retailer. So some people would be like, oh man, you never have this book on the floor. And I'm like, nobody orders it though. Like no one in my pull bags orders America. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, why would I stock a book that I got no pre-orders on? If I have a bunch of pre-orders on, of course I'm going to stock more to the floor because obviously there's a demand for it.
Right.
Like, I'm a small place, you know?
If it was a new issue and a new thing and like I didn't have, say you had 2 people order it for their pull bag. How many pull bags well, that's none of my business. Say you have a small percentage, 1 or 2% of your pull bags order a book, you know, and it's a new #1, you know, I'd be like, maybe I'll order 3 extras.
Right.
Like
Right, but you know, here's the thing: there's 200 or there's 2,300 different titles in the book and Diamond. You know,
Yeah, you
like
can't order one of each. You
there's no
can't.
way I could order one of each. There's whole companies that I don't order things from, and that's just because nobody pre-ordered it. If somebody pre-ordered it, I'd look at it harder, you know. And I do. I go through that whole thing. It's a huge book. I go through it every month. It takes me like 3 hours to go through the whole thing, looking at everything. Like, it takes forever. But yeah, I mean, another thing is everything in the store, all the stock in the store is already paid for. I don't get reimbursed when I sell a copy or something, or a copy sells and I give them money now. They don't just stock my store for free. I pay for everything in the store. That's another thing that I have to explain to certain people. Like, I don't understand how you don't know that, but okay.
Right. It's not like you're a huge company who buys everything on, you know, credit and has some algorithm figuring out, you know, what product should go at what store because it'll sell here, but it won't sell over there. You're one guy in one shop on one street in one city.
Right. Ordering from one distributor.
Right, because you don't have a choice.
No choice. Diamond is a legal monopoly. I think people know that. And yeah, that's it.
All right. You want to get talking about books?
Sure.
What do you want to hit first?
I'll talk about Justice League. No justice.
All right.
There's no justice. Hold on. I read this a while ago. Feels like a long time ago. Oh, so this book, Justice League No Justice, it's the first part of a 4-issue miniseries. It's written by Scott Snyder, Josh Williamson, and James Tynion IV, with art by Francis Manapul, who I really, really dig his art. Like, I wasn't crazy about the cover here. Maybe it's the coloring of the cover, but I really like the interior pages of the art. So basically, during the Dark Knight's Metal thing, they punched a hole in the multiverse, blah blah blah, and now there's something seeping through from the source wall, which is source wall's got all these crazy people and stuff like that. Well, Brainiac apparently is attacking Earth because he has a plan to save it. I don't know. It was fun though. It was cool. He was like, "No, you got to listen to me. I'm here. I don't have time for this crap. I'm setting up teams and all this stuff." Like, he was already divvying everybody up.
Listen, folks, I just wanted to show you how easy it is to kick your ass, and the person coming through is way worse than me.
Right. And he was like, "We have a plan," and no, that's exactly right. Like, listen, dudes, you're not all hot shit. So I really like the story. I don't really want to talk about too much more about it, to be honest with you. I really like the art. I think the characters were done very well. I really enjoyed it. I think it's setting up a cool story. The only thing I do have to say is he's got these, Kirby-like characters coming to eat the Earth, and all I could think of is like Galactus. I'm like, oh, so instead of like Fantastic Four fighting Galactus, this is like a huge Justice League team or multiple Justice League teams fighting multiple Galactus people. Like, that's what I got.
Right. See, I kind of was thinking more like Celestials.
Yeah, they do look like Celestials, but the Celestials don't eat the Earth.
Yeah, but they might. I mean, whatever.
So I liked it. I think it's a good read. I think people should pick that up. I think it's a fun story. I like fun stuff.
Yeah,
in my comics.
I really enjoyed reading that one also. So sticking on DC, Batman White Knight finished, and that was a pretty satisfying ending, which is hard to do.
Yeah. That's a good book.
I was not disappointed. He left some stuff open, obviously, for a sequel or whatever. But I wouldn't be pissed off if he didn't do a sequel. Like, I thought it was a good story. It was pretty contained. You got to see a different side of Batman. And you got to see Batman really written from a different perspective, I think. Now, obviously, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories about Batman. So maybe I'm wrong. But he was portrayed different than all the stories I've read. You know, so anybody wants to be like, no, issue 352 of Detective Comics was similar. You know, I don't know. I didn't read that issue.
Yeah, so it's like I liked that book, and it really kind of like in the beginning, it was like I think how it was described was that Batman was the villain of the story and Joker was the hero. But I always, after that first issue, like the last couple pages, I was like, Joker's still the villain of the story. And he still kind of was. But it comes to find out that one of the Harley Quinns in the book, because there's multiple Harley Quinns in the book, or two Harley Quinns, one of them was kind of the mastermind actually behind the whole thing. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, so everybody should go pick that up. I also
that book, which I probably will get myself, is like if they do a nice hardcover version of that. Like, I've read the floppies, I've read the story, whatever, but like if they do like a really nice hardcover version, I'll probably get that and read the whole story in like one sitting if I could.
Yeah, that's my problem with Sean Gordon Murphy. When he writes something good, I end up buying 7 copies of it.
Yeah, it's like you get the floppies, and then you get the trades, and then you get the hardcover, and then they're like, well, we're going to do a huge deluxe hardcover and an absolute edition. And you're like, yeah, I'll just get that too. Like I have 17 different versions of the book.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're like, God damn, I've spent $300 on this one comic book.
Right.
It was only 6 issues. So Venom came out last week too.
Yeah, so like the new #1 of Venom, the new story, Donny Cates, who is probably one of my favorite writers in comics, definitely my favorite at Marvel, with Ryan Stegman art on a new Venom story. So this is like pretty much a new, not a new take on the character, but I think a new story that has really nothing to do with the last run, which is fine by me because I didn't read it. And I'm not a huge Venom fan, but this story was pretty cool. And so Venom kind of wakes up and he's having these dreams, and it looks like his symbiote is infected. So he's kind of going back and forth. He takes these pills to kind of like shut the symbiote up because he can't think himself. Eddie Brock can't think himself. And it kind of leads him to this warehouse where it looks like there's all these other symbiotes that look, they're wicked looking. They're really cool, but they look infected. And he ends up running into this guy who said that he had been around for a while and he's had symbiotes before and part of like the super soldier program or whatever. And he was basically like, what do you know about the symbiote? Like, do you age while you're wearing the symbiote, or do you age more? Do you age less? Do you know what it likes?
I had a symbiote once, but my doctor gave me a cream and I got rid of it.
Like a tapeworm.
Uh,
Do you ever hear
no,
the Three Stooges joke?
No,
where he's like, "Oh, you hungry or whatever?" And he's like, "I'll just have a rotten egg and a burnt piece of toast because that's good enough for the tapeworm." Or whatever. It's so stupid.
Oh. No.
Yeah. So anyway, he meets this guy, and he was like, you know, do you know anything about the symbiote? And it kind of seems like maybe no one's done this in a story. But again, like you and Batman, me and with Venom, I've never read all the Venom stories, so I have no idea if this was brought up before or not. But he was like, "How about this? How old is it? What does it like to eat? What's the ideal temperature? Like, how many others has it been bonded to? This, that, and the other thing." And Eddie was kind of like, I don't know, man. But the art is really fantastic. It's a cool story. It looks like the symbiote. There's been symbiotes on the team, and it looks like there's a group of like infected symbiotes. It looks like that he's going to have to go up against, plus this one big creature that they showed on the last page with wings. So, like, highly recommend this book. I think Donny Cates is killing it.
So Marvel has a couple other books coming out that I think I might check out.
Yeah.
I don't know when they're coming out. I just read about them the other day. But one of them's like this Chinese woman who has like powers to bend air and stuff. And the other one is some kid with a magic sword, this Chinese kid with a magic sword. And they're teaming up with so it's going to be, they're teaming up with another comic book company from China. So it is going to be drawn and written by Chinese authors and artists. But the concept seemed cool, and I think that...
So it's like manga style?
The art did look more that style. I can't remember the name of the books right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think I've seen a preview of that, but I don't. I didn't really read about it too much.
But I think I'll give that a shot. I mean, if you're gonna, like, when they want to introduce characters like that, I think that's the way to do it. So I want to give it a shot and see how they are.
Yeah.
As opposed to just replacing characters that already exist.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to introduce new heroes, they should be new. That's all. You know, I like
Yeah,
new heroes.
I mean, I had a... did we talk about that, or is it just a tweet?
I have no idea. We can talk about it again.
I was like, I'm taking over the Champions book, and I'm killing all the existing characters and replacing them with new, cooler characters.
Oh, so yeah, I was thinking about how you could end the current Champions run.
Because those characters right now in the Champions are just old and boring, right?
So... So there is something really wrong going on in a part of the city, and the Champions get alerted to it, right? But so the Hulk, the Hulk, Miles Morales, and
Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, like Riri,
and Kamala Khan are all headed there. And Riri, when they're headed to, you know, where the action, this alien invasion is happening, they come across Riri, and she's fighting, man, and I should have prepared better for this.
Yeah.
She's fighting that dwarf that runs that forge.
Like one of the like the Thor guys, like one of the ones that like.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's opened a weapon shop in New York, and Riri is fighting him outside on the sidewalk. And the other champions see it, and they kind of intervene. And they end up, it takes all 4 of them to take him down because he's got such a powerful weapon, because he's like this awesome weaponsmith. And it turns out that Riri was only fighting him because he turned somebody away because he said the restroom was for customers only. And the rest of the team gets infuriated over it, and they all fight each other and kill each other. And that's the end of
It's like a civil war. Well, I like the setup of the dwarf guy that's a weapons maker in New York. I think he'll be using some sort of magic or whatever, and they're going to go and they're going to see the disturbance and they're going to go to help, and then they all die. Right? Okay. Something happens, they're fighting. He has some magical thing and he kills them all. Right? And everyone dies in that radius of so not only do the champions die, but a bunch of people die and stuff like that. And that wasn't supposed to happen. That was something that happened in the timeline, that something changed. And so then you get the future champions from another time, a whole generation. And then they come back to say, because they would be not existing if that happened. So it would be a big paradox.
Man, you're pretty good at this. I was just trying to wipe the champions out, and I was trying to come up with a funny, clever way to do it on our show.
They would be all replaced though with newer, hipper characters.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just what kind of ridiculous thing? They go and defeat the dwarf, and then they find out that it was just her overreacting because he wouldn't let somebody use the bathroom.
She had a tinkle, and he was like, whoa, 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 you can't park your armor here.
Right. Right.
All right.
And the last book I wanted to talk about was Days of Hate, #4. So I totally lost my copy and had to buy another copy. And I read it, and I'm still liking this story. Although there's kind of a lull, and I'm hoping this isn't the middle of the series lull, because it's only issue 4 or chapter 4 out of 12. But Zing's parents get invaded by the FBI guy. Not invaded, but she comes home for the weekend or something, and the FBI guy is in the living room. And he presses her to give up her girlfriend. And she does it. And that was kind of it. But it was kind of a boring issue where the first 3 issues weren't that boring. There was action and stuff. And this one was, and I was like, man, I hope this isn't the middle. You know how some stories are boring in the middle.
Yeah, I know some stories that, like you said, it's oh, okay, it's part 4, and it's we want to get to 12.
Right.
So
right,
we're going to write a bunch of nonsense to get to 12.
It's
that's what the contract said.
Couldn't you have waited until issue done 7, 8, 9 be the boring ones? And then, because I'm afraid it'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 10, 11, 12 will be good again.
Yeah.
It's if I get a couple of these that are boring, I might not read it anymore.
Right. It's comic books, you should probably I know there's a little bit of stretching things out, especially this day and age, for trade paperbacks and stuff, but I don't know, man. I really wouldn't want to be, it's creator owned, so you shouldn't be stretching it out. You should, if the book was only going to be 11 issues, then it was going to be 11 issues,
Now, this issue did set up the next issue. So I'm pretty excited about that. Like, I'm still hopeful that it's gonna pick up again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Unless do you have any other books you wanted to talk about?
No, we talked too long.
All right. Well, you can buy some merch at shop.blathercast.com. We are going to have a art print t-shirt very shortly, probably in the next couple weeks, and the preliminary art looks really badass. So I can't wait until that's up there. And, yep. And that's shop.blathercast.com. And of course, hit the little notification bell and hit the little subscribe button that's been down there the whole time. You can follow me at Johnny Redbeard.
What do you got to do for iTunes? People listen to us on iTunes.
What do you mean? What am I going to do?
What do you have to do?
Oh, just search for us in the podcast app on your phone or the Google.
And then you
Play
could subscribe
Store.
On there too, right?
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've got about 30 or 40 podcast subscribers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we never mention it in the show, but you can get us at Google Play or TuneIn or Pocket Casts or whatever podcast app you use.
I have a podcast app. It's literally just, I have an iPhone. It's literally just podcasts.
Yes.
The app. So you could subscribe and download episodes there too if you don't want to watch on YouTube or whatever.
Right. Yep. Same with the Google Play Store. So if you open up the music app and then click on there's a podcast option and you can subscribe there, or Pocket Casts, or wherever.
Right.
There's a million ways
I'm pretty sure soon we'll be like on your local radio station. Like we'll just, people will just be throwing money and, we'll be on that too.
Right. And then we will only talk about the books that our sponsors want us to.
Right. Then I'll totally sell out. I'm telling you guys this right now. They're going to pay me money and I'll be like, absolutely. That book is great. So you can follow me at Second Prince. That's 2NDPRINTS on Twitter. And like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Make sure when you park your Iron Man armor, you're a paying customer somewhere.
Yeah. So also, if you want to leave a voicemail, you can call 724-4-COMICS, and you can text that number or leave a voicemail, and
we got voicemail too,
and we'll play it on our show if it's funny.
Daddy.
That's 724-4-COMICS.
Nice. We have a special guest on the show too.
Yeah. My sons came in to join me. Shop.blathercast.com, at Johnny Redbeard, at Second Prince. Another issue
in the bag.